Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us. At USA Global TV and Radio, we gladly provide world-class entertainment, education, news, hope, and inspiration. Our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture, episode 139. I'm your host, author, DIANN Floyd BOEHM. Dr. Jacalyn is producing the show today. Let us welcome our first team member, the incredibly talented royal photographer, co-host of the Royally Rich Lifestyle, and co-host for the Royal Breaking News from London. She's also a royal expert and the woman in the know, HELENA CHARD.
Hi.
Welcome back, HELENA.
Thank you so much. So lovely to see you. So good to be back, as always.
The sentiments we feel exactly, and I know Simon.
I know.
You, for everyone listening, HELENA isn't just this incredibly wealth of knowledge, but she's also a woman with a heart of gold and just someone you wish lived right next door with you. You could share a cup of tea and maybe even do a little bit of gardening with, right, HELENA?
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, my garden needs it at the moment. Oh, I love gardening. I would love to introduce everyone to gardening. Yeah, you're so right.
There's something about gardening, it just, well, for example, someone hit me the other day while I was sitting in the car, to make a long story short, and the only way I could calm my nerves was I decided I needed to dig more holes and plant.
I completely get it.
Yeah.
I love it. Even sweeping leaves. I mean, I have this thing, it's just all so grounding. So yeah, that's my run-to place too. And I also, I dream up things, and yeah, it calms me, but I'm quite inspired and come up with great ideas.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, totally amazing. Well, let's welcome our other team member, our Scottish team member, the fabulous chef, author, speaker, sailor, and so much more. Please welcome Simon Macdonald.
Hi there, Wednesday again. It's nice to see you back, HELENA. Yes.
Thank you. Lovely to see you. Yes, it's getting a bit dark, I feel, at the moment.
It's getting, yes, the days, everything's sort of changed now. Our clocks changed their weekend, and it's now, it's a bit lighter in the morning, but it's getting dark very early in the evening now. 5 o'clock, we're in pitch blackness here. So there we go.
It's always hard, right? I just want to go to sleep when everything turns dark.
Yeah, well, it's we're probably a lot nearer the North Pole than you are, so it means then that in the midwinter around 21st of December, then it's not light here until about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and it gets dark again about 3:30 in the afternoon. So if you blink it, you miss it for the sunlight during the day. In fact, well, for the rain during the day, shall we say. You can see the rain. That's the difference.
Is that the same for you, HELENA?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's. I still feel the weather's quite lovely, but the change in time, it's slightly darker.
Yeah.
I sort of always venture out anyway, but I do prefer the summer.
Oh man. Well, we meaning the United States, we fall back this coming Sunday. So
Yeah.
if my eyes look heavy next week, you'll know why.
Yes.
Well, we probably should get on with the show. Helena.
Yeah, goodness me, gosh, there's been lots and lots of news. I'm just going to pick up just on a few bits, really, just to share with you. And I think I'm going to start with, we're really looking forward to a documentary that's coming out tonight, and this is called We Can End Homelessness. Now, it's a 2-part documentary on ITV1, and I think ITVX starts tonight, this evening, also is on Thursday evening. Now, this is featuring the lovely Prince William. And also, I just would like to add, you know, has Prince William handed Prince Harry an olive branch? Now, so We Can End Homelessness is on tonight. It is 1 year cameras have followed Prince William, and he has this 5-year plan where he hopes to eradicate homelessness. He wants to make it rare, brief, and unrepeated. Now, this is part of his Homewards initiative, which is another 4 years too. He's so passionate about this. And he really is carrying on his mother, the late Princess Diana's legacy. And that's something she passed on, her big passion, to both William and Harry. Within the documentary are some wonderful photographs of them when they were younger with Princess Diana. She used to take them, I don't know what age they were, but to a homeless charity called The Passage. And it really stunned them. And also to Centrepoint, another charity. Princess Diana was patron, I think, of both places. Now Prince William is patron of these places as well. But interestingly, in the documentary, we'll hear how Prince William talks to his children on the school run. And that's exactly what Princess Diana did with him and also with Harry, finding ways to tackle homelessness. And William has said that the oldest two, so that's Prince George and Princess Charlotte, have actually been stunned into, you know, hearing sort of into silence in a sense. But it's a really lovely, I think it's a lovely, just having seen some of it, I think it's really, really worth watching. And here in Great Britain, over 350,000 people lack a permanent home. And I think on the school run, which is sort of around the Windsor way, I think it's over 100 people, but they pass homeless people, roughly 20 something on the street. So they've been talking about it. But, you know, I just think there's been words as well, you know, is Prince William really the right person to be trying to push with this initiative? I absolutely think he is. It is a passion, like his father, not his late father. They want to leave their own legacy as well, and they're passionate about helping. So I just think it's so lovely to see how the late Princess Diana shaped Prince William's early life. And I guess we can put Prince Harry into that as well. So there we go, making a difference. And everyone should tune in. That's We Can End Homelessness this evening. And moving on, I'm going to move on to King Charles. Now he's 75. As we know, he's had, I would say, a successful trip to Australia and to Samoa for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting as king. But the good news is he's made a major decision over his future foreign tours. Now, I have been doing a few interviews with various stations, and everyone's asking, you know, how is King Charles, what's happening? So to hear that this great news has been decided, he is going to be carrying on doing these foreign tours. So there's going to be another 2 tours next year. We're not too sure. And the reason behind it is he feels completely invigorated. It's been such a tonic for him. Even Australia, where he was slightly concerned, there was a great outpouring of love. Lots of people so excited to see him. The people of Samoa, so this is obviously for the CHOGM meeting, really beautiful. I would love to go to Samoa, I have to say. Really, he was welcomed so beautifully. So he's thrived on this trip. So where he'll be going next week, I have no idea. I think it's lovely as well, because at the end of the trip, he did say that it's actually his royal physicians that are scuppering his plan, and that his aspiration is to visit all 56 Commonwealth countries. It was a light-hearted note, but obviously there was a bit of truth in it. So we're really excited. And also he's talking about, you know, becoming increasingly challenging because of the expanding family of nations. So really excited for him to be returning to a full programme. There's one thing I was going to speak about. I don't know whether this would be, I think, well, yeah, actually, why not? Why not? So another thing as well, people have been talking about, Lydia Thorpe was an MP in Australia, and people were saying, did she put a dampener on the whole Australian tour? She raced into Parliament and started swearing, you know, and was saying, "You're not my king, give back land, da 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 da." And this was her supporting Aboriginal rights. Now, what we do know about this Lydia Thorpe is that she is a self-confessed publicist. So whenever she can get into somewhere, she'll always go shouting about something. Last year, she was not talking about Aboriginal rights. She didn't join in, but obviously she knew King Charles was there. People have been worried just in case it's upset the apple cart, but it hasn't. In fact, King Charles, Queen Camilla knew that she was going to be there, so they were expecting something to happen. And in all honesty, what I do know about the royal family is they do like it when things go slightly wrong. So when it's a little bit of fun or something that's a bit unexpected, it adds a certain level to it. So absolutely fine. All I would say is I don't think she had to use such dire language. She didn't really have to swear as much. And obviously Queen Camilla sat there cool and calm. Everything was fine. Moving on from that, so something that I'm pleased to hear about, and it's something that's happening more and more now. Now, we all love a royal fairy tale. We all love lovely fairy tale weddings, and I always imagined that when I was little as well. Wouldn't it be great to get married somewhere royal? But something's happened now. According to Forbes, the royal family, or did I say the independent team that run Balmoral, they filed plans with the local government to open a 300-person wedding venue on the grounds of Balmoral. Now, it will be obviously a posh barn, but I mean, how amazing that you can actually be able to get married there in Balmoral. I mean, this was Queen Elizabeth's favourite home. Obviously, King Charles, Queen Camilla, they stay at Birkhall in Scotland. That's their private house. They're not staying as much in Balmoral. And it's now going to be that the public can come in and see a little bit of the royal mystique. Obviously, events bringing tourism, and that's huge benefits. Events bringing money. I think the building is going to be known as the Queen's Building. And as we know, Balmoral, that's like a 50,000 acre estate, and it sort of dates back to Queen Victoria and Albert. So all that great history. There's going to be weddings, dinners, meetings, events, and I think it's a brilliant business move. So, and it brings the royal family more and more into the modern world. So, yeah, I say hurrah. I think that's really brilliant news. I think I'm going to talk now, this is going to be my last one. And this is something that made me laugh. Now, it's a shame I haven't got pictures for some of these, which is a shame. So, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson. Now, we've spoken about him before. He is the wonderful, wonderful, lovely, lovely King Charles Equerry. Now, Equerry is somebody who's an aide, like a personal assistant. And heartbreaking news for some that he's released the news that he's actually getting married to his girlfriend, high society girlfriend, not too sure of her name. So he's excited. A lot of people are not excited because I think people were thinking that they were in with a chance with him. He was dubbed Major Eye Candy. But no, I'm really pleased for him. And he's made lots of fans go wild over the years. He used to work with the late Queen Elizabeth. He's doing less public-facing work now, just because he actually hated the attention that he used to get. So every time he was out and about the roles, you know, screaming people, wanting autographs, wanting pictures, and just wanting a little bit of him. He's still a senior equerry, but it's sort of more executive, I'd say, less public-facing roles. So, but good for him. And will he be getting married in Balmoral? I don't know. Possibly he will. Who knows? Anyway, there's lots and lots of other news, but I hope that gives a little bit of tidbit for now. It would have been lovely to have more photographs with my little stories, because it always helps build that sort of picture. But yes.
That was fabulous information. I don't even know where to begin. It's documentary tonight sounds fantastic, and I wish I could afford to go have my husband and I redo our vows in Balmoral. How cool would that be?
It's an amazing place. It is quite an amazing place.
I don't know if I mentioned, did I say about the olive branch thing? I don't even know if I actually.
Oh, yes, what was that?
I think it's, no, you know what it's like. It's a little bit of talk, something to fill the headlines. But no, it's just within it. It's to do with Prince William actually mentions Prince Harry's name. You know that they, but it's apparently he's not mentioned his name, Prince Harry's name, for years and years and years. And it's the first time he's brought up his name in this documentary. So they're saying, is this an olive branch? You know, are they going to get together? I mean, I think it's ludicrous. I mean, obviously he's going to mention Prince Harry's name if they're going to put photographs of them with the late mother actually, you know, at these charities. It's just part of the narrative, isn't it?
Yes.
And do you know what? If it is an olive branch, we'll so be it. But I can't see it myself. Silly.
Simon?
Yes, well, I mean, I think I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. But I think, you know, as long as the olive branch isn't too big, because it will really hurt when he hits him with it, I think. So, yeah, I think there's a lot, you know, they've got a long way to go yet. It would be nice to see a reconciliation, but, and there's all sorts of speculation going on just now. So, watch this space, as they say.
One step at a time. And how lovely that the king is going to be going full force now. That's wonderful news.
I think it's great. I mean, obviously subject to health and everything.
Yes.
But it's interesting because he just feels so invigorated.
Mm-hmm.
He loves meeting people and travel, etc. And in fact, you know, as I was talking to NBC, and I said the same thing. Actually, he's very charismatic when you meet him, and he makes you feel like that too. So I just think it's a two-way thing. So he loves being with people and gives them that certain buzz to be back. Very charismatic. And I'm a fan. I think when I first met King Charles, I was, you know, this was with Royal Photography, and this was a long time ago. And I met him very quickly. So I always have a really, really positive, you know, experience, because he was so lovely with me, so communicative and friendly, and I don't know, complimentary. Everything about him was great, and I was quite shocked. And I watched the way as well he was so agile, just chatting to people. And I thought, wow, I just knew he was going to be a great future king. I mean, who knew that ill health would prevail? But yeah, I'm so glad that he's at least got to be king. I think he's a good chap, and I think he's underestimated. Really do. I won't say more.
I remember you telling us, and tell me if I have the story wrong, but he spoke completely in French when he was in France in front of their parliament, correct?
Yeah. He does it wherever he goes. He's really good with languages.
Wow.
I mean, actually, from, you know, just with his speeches, I think he's absolutely spot on. I think he's actually poetic as well. The way he talks, he's got a real talent. So that's just with speeches he gives here. But then to go abroad to all these different places and speak, I mean, even speaks Samoan. Is that right? Samoan, I guess it is. But he does. He's just great with languages and sounds so good, and people love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It means you honor them, I believe, you know. My husband speaks several languages, and I know when even if he doesn't even know the language completely, but he has a new client and they're from a different country where he practices the language, he practices the accent so that he can greet them. And I've always heard from various clients how much it means to them. So I can just imagine what the king does when he literally knows the language. Such a compliment.
It's such good business acumen as well, isn't it, to do that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Simon, how is it in the world in Scotland?
Wet. Something to do with the time of year. I was just thinking about your gardening chat earlier on there. I was actually looking at the window there the other day through the mist and the rain, and because it's actually been quite warm, we've got a weeping willow tree in the garden there, and there's new buds appearing on it. Oh. So just wait till the frost comes. It's in for a bit of a sort of sharp reminder there that it's it is winter and it is not spring. So yes, I think the seasons are getting a bit confused just now.
That seems to happen all over. You never know what's going to happen with the weather. I just hope this year there's no mudslides in your country.
So do I. Yes.
Or in London. England. Anyway.
Yeah, it's not very high there.
No, it was not. Well, Simon, I know you have a lot to share with us, so let's get started.
Yes, well, let's start off with a few of the factoids again. They're getting sort of good reaction from people thoroughly enjoying it, and people are sending me more in as well. So, cows give more milk when they listen to music. I just wonder about them listening to something that's, let's say, heavy rock music. Does that not make it into butter or into cheese? However, having said that, camel's milk doesn't curdle. Presumably they're tone deaf and don't listen to music. So you don't have to be a lawyer in the Supreme Court to be a Supreme Court justice. Now, there's an interesting thing. I'd have thought that would have been a prerequisite. And the Office of Treasurer of the United States has been held by women since 1949. Oh, equality. Now, the brain is our fattiest organ and is composed of nearly 60% fat. I'll tell my stomach that. Yes. And on the food side still, tyromancy is the practice of predicting the future with cheese. So there's one food for thought. Right. So moving on. Today, I'm going to be talking about a very decisive battle that it was the last battle fought on British soil. And it was fought near Inverness in Scotland on the 16th of April in 1746. And this is the Battle of Culloden, and it was the climax of the Jacobite Rising of 1745-46. The forces of Prince Charles Edward Stuart, attempting to reclaim the throne for his family, met a British army led by the Duke of Cumberland, who was the son of the Hanoverian King George II. The battle finally settled the contest for the monarchy that had lasted almost 60 years. In 1688, in an act that was immediately hailed as Glorious Revolution, Parliament and an overwhelmingly Protestant political nation deposed the Roman Catholic King James II. His arbitrary actions and fostering of a powerful standing army had appeared to presage the establishment of an absolute Catholic monarchy. James' Protestant daughters from his first marriage, Mary and Anne, reigned after him, but when Anne died in 1714, leaving no heir, Parliament replaced the Stuart dynasty with their German cousins, the Hanoverians. The claims of James II's Catholic son, James Francis Edward, or the so-called Old Pretender, were ignored. So in 1708, 1715, 1719, the Old Pretender had attempted to raise the banner of revolt in Scotland, the home of his forefathers. But by 1745, despite its continued unpopularity, the Hanoverian dynasty appeared secure. So when news arrived of the old Pretender's son, Prince Charles Edward Stuart, who was the young Pretender, sometimes known as Bonnie Prince Charlie, had landed in Scotland with a handful of followers, there was initially little alarm. And this changed rapidly when Charles Edward's Highland Army defeated government troops at Prestonpans in September 1745, occupied Edinburgh, and then in November entered into England. The 5,000-strong Highland Army marched as far south as Derby, but failed to gather English support. It was confronted by converging armies made of British troops, and on the 5th of December, it began to retreat back to Scotland. So after receiving French reinforcements, the Highlanders defeated the first government army sent against them at Falkirk on the 17th of January 1746. But by the time the Highland Army came up against the Duke of Cumberland's forces on Culloden Moor on the 16th of April, it was dispirited, poorly supplied, and suffering heavy desertion. Prince Charles Edward possessed virtually no military experience before arriving in Scotland. However, his army's early victories convinced him that the Highland charge with broadsword in hand was irresistible. The Highland Army mustered only 5,000 men at Culloden. Some 2,000 were on operations elsewhere. Its mounted arm was very weak, and the motley collection of 12 cannon available was different calibers and poorly served. The British commander, William Augustus, the Duke of Cumberland, an enthusiastic soldier from a young age and known as the Marshal Boy, was already Captain General of the British Army, and he was considered an incipient military genius. A strict disciplinarian, Cumberland restored the confidence of the army defeated at Falkirk and introduced a new bayonet drill to combat Jacobite use of sword and targe. Targe is a small shield. His 9,000 men constituted a well-balanced force on horse and on foot, and supported by 10 3-pounder cannon and 6 mortars. The Highland Army had attempted to launch a surprise attack the night before the battle, but delayed by men straggling in search of food, as it had not reached Cumberland's camp by daybreak. It retreated in the field of battle 5 miles east of Inverness on Culloden Moor. The battlefield was ill-chosen, as it afforded a clear field of fire to Cumberland's artillery. The Highlanders were cannonaded for nearly half an hour without effective reply. Orders to attack passed slowly down the Highland Army's chaotic chain of command, but eventually the Highlanders were unleashed. They charged across the 350 yards of ground separating them from the enemy. On the left, the Macdonalds never reached the British line, but the large Highland regiment on the right, the Clanchatten, smashed into Barrel's 4th and Monroe's 37th Foot in great force. They were repulsed after fierce hand-to-hand combat, and only a few Highlanders fighting their way through to make an unavailing attack on Cumberland's second line. At this point, the cavalry of Cobham's and Lord Mark Carus regiments of dragoons, along with Kingston's light horse, began to work their way round the Highlanders' flanks, and that was coveting a defeat into an absolute rout. The pursuit extended all the way to Inverness, which is a fair distance then when you're doing that on foot. But the actual fighting lasted less than 1 hour. Between 1,000 and 1,500 of Prince Charles Edward's men were killed. Few were wounded. Cumberland had drawn attention to enemy orders captured prior to the battle, which suggested the Highlanders did not intend on taking prisoners. The authenticity of these orders is disputed, but it seems his men had taken the hint. So the casualties on Cumberland's side were significantly lower, 50 dead and 259 wounded. The young Pretender escaped the battlefield and in many adventures reached France, like over the sea to Skye as part of the journey. But the Stuart cause was ruined forever. Cumberland's men harried the Highlands, burning homes and driving off cattle. The British government, determined to destroy the Highland way of life, forbidding the wearing of Highland dress, the carrying of weapons, and passing laws against the clan system. Cumberland was initially feted for his victory. The flower Sweet William was actually named after him. But the public mood turned against him. The excesses of his troops earned him the lasting nickname of the Butcher. He never won another battle and resigned his command a few years later. By restricting French interference at home, Culloden paved the way for global expansion. It also safeguarded the succession of the House of Hanover and ancestors of the present King Charles III. The events that followed united the nation in such a way that over 270 years later, Culloden remains the last battle to have been fought on British soil. By the time Sir Walter Scott was writing in the early 19th century, Highland daring do had become cloaked in romantic legend, and in stark contrast to the harsh measures employed in the wake of Culloden, King George IV and later Queen Victoria gave the royal seal of approval to all things emanating from the Highlands of Scotland. Today, the battlefield of Culloden is preserved by the National Trust of Scotland and is really regarded now as a place of pilgrimage. So there we have, in a nutshell, the Battle of Culloden. It was a pretty bloody battle, and it only lasted 1 hour, but 1,500 dead on the Highlanders' side and 259 on the Hanoverian side. It was an absolute slaughter.
Wow. Wow. So I have a couple of questions, if I may.
Right.
I know it sounds dumb, but why didn't they like the Highlanders?
There always seems to have been a bit of a Scottish English thing going on, I'm afraid. But yes, there had been battles running for many years between the Highlanders and it was classed as the British, but the English. But there were actually a lot of Highlanders defected to the English side as well. So, I mean, we knew what side the bread was buttered on. But the battle still continues today, but more in a dramatic way.
So when you say Highlanders, does that mean they live up in the mountain area?
Yes, well, I suppose really, I mean, the Highlanders, it was a bit of a misnomer there because there were Highland regiments in the lowlands and the border region as well. So, yeah, it was, Highlanders, I was thinking, really, justifiably, is the Scots.
Scots. And so the other thing, and in Helena, you probably already know this too, since you're from the UK, but I never thought about how, in the movies they show the knights walking and everything, but you don't think about, okay, it took them days to get there, maybe even weeks, and then a battle's over in an hour. It's like, okay, why did we go through this?
Yeah, quite. Well, I mean, they thought they were in with a good chance, but I mean, the men were so demoralized having marched that distance that, and the lack of food and lack of discipline, it was, there were a lot of men there, from all the clans. And on the battlefield of Culloden today, they've got those headstones and memorials to each clan. So, there were a lot of people involved there, and it was, rather a tragic end in many respects to the proud Highland heritage. Yeah.
Helena, any thoughts?
I survived.
The whole thought of battles, I don't like it at all. But I know what I was left thinking was something that you said prior, Simon, was about the brain being the most fatty organ. It was 60% fat, did you say?
Yes, I know. I mean, I was thinking of that. I was thinking, my God, I wonder how much fat my stomach is. I bet it beats my brain, that's for sure.
That surprised me. Maybe I was being a bit silly. I've not thought about it before, but yes, there you go.
Yes, well, the brain's
chocolate and wine.
That's it. The brain's in two halves. So, on my left half, it does nothing right, and on my right half, there's nothing left. So,
yes, so funny. I've lost you. Actually, I think you can hear me and see me. I just can't see you. Never mind.
We can see you and we can hear you.
Yes, that's good.
You look perfect. Simon, do you have anything for on this day?
I do indeed, yes. So on this day, in 1485, King Henry VII of England was crowned at Westminster Abbey. Then going across the pond, in 1866, Jesse James' gang robs the bank in Lexington in Missouri, getting away with $2,000. That would actually be quite a lot of money in today's value. In 1952, Clarence Birdseye sells the world's first frozen peas. In 1965, British model Jean Shrimpton causes a sensation at Derby Day at the Melbourne races, wearing a white shift dress with a hem 4 inches above the knee. Oh, the scandal. Dear, oh dear. Birthdays today, 1451. Christopher Columbus, the explorer and navigator who discovered the New World, better known now as the Americas, for Spain, and initiated the European colonization. And he was born in Valencia, in Spain. Then in 1945, today, Henry Winkler, the American actor who played the Fonz in Happy Days, was born in New York City, and he's aged 79 today. Happy birthday, Henry. And still going strong. Then 1981, Ivanka Trump, the American businesswoman and daughter of Donald Trump and his first wife, Ivana, was born in Manhattan, New York. So she's 43 today. Another happy birthday. Moving on to the deaths today, the obituaries. In 1809, William Cavendish Bentinck, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, dies after an operation to remove a kidney stone, age 71. Now, this was not a good day for prime ministers, probably not a good day for our own one following the budget. Because in 1893, John Abbott, who was the third Prime Minister of Canada, dies of brain cancer, age 32. Followed in 1915 by Charles Tupper, who was the sixth Prime Minister of Canada, and died of heart failure, age 94. Not to be outdone, in 1923, Bonar Law, the British Prime Minister, died of throat cancer, age 64. So there we are. Not a good day to be a Prime Minister.
No, not at all. My goodness gracious. And on Henry Winkler, I was listening to one of his interviews, and did you know that he had a hard time retaining information, and so he was dyslexic, and that he would go off stage, they would read to this room, they would read his next lines, he'd memorize it, and then he'd go back out and do his part.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Why is dyslexic such a difficult word to spell?
He's done so much for the community, and now he's an author of children's books, and so I'm really proud of everything he's done in his life to help others, and to come out and say that for the dyslexia community, because it shows young children that you can go after your dreams. And just because you might have this little problem doesn't mean you can't do it. You know?
Yeah. Oh, well.
So, anyway, just my food for thought. And as far as October 30th, not a good day even in my family, because that's when my daddy died. So happy birthday, Daddy. So anyway.
We've got the budget here.
You have the budget. Oh my gosh. Well, so everybody around the world is being stressed out. You'll have the budget, and we have the election. Oh my stars!
To see what happens.
Well, in closing the show out, Helena, do you have any food for thought to share with people?
Not necessarily food for thought, but I just wanted to say again that I'm really pleased to hear that the King is well enough to be travelling overseas next year. And it's so important, really, to visit the Commonwealth Room and to promote Great Britain on the global stage.
Absolutely. We love Great Britain.
Hey.
And Simon.
Well, if we're not meant to have midnight feasts, talking about 60% fat in the brain, why do they put lights in the refrigerators?
Helena, what are you going to do with him and his humor?
Oh, I don't know. Another book coming on.
It's so great. Well, Helena, we are so happy to have you back. We've missed you tremendously. You bring such joy. And Simon, what would we do without you? I tell you, all of us have to get together and have Simon cook for us. We'll put you to work, Simon, while we enjoy the wine and strawberries or whatever for the brain. Well, everyone, that's our show for today. Wherever you are in the world, I hope your day is filled with peace and love. Bye for now.